Most NFL players become famous because they win. A few become famous because they dominate, but almost nobody becomes bigger than the sport itself. And yet somehow, Travis Kelce did exactly that. At first, he was just another talented player inside the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Loud personality, elite talent, a tight end who played with the swagger of a superstar wide receiver. But then something changed. Kelce stopped feeling like just an NFL player. He became a celebrity. Suddenly, people who didn't watch football knew his name. Sports media turned into entertainment media. His relationship headlines became global news. Podcasts exploded. Commercials multiplied. Cameras followed him everywhere. And the strangest part, the bigger he became off the field, the better he seemed to become on it. That's what makes Travis Kelce fascinating. Because athletes are usually told fame is dangerous. Distractions ruin focus. Celebrity destroys discipline. Superstars eventually lose themselves trying to become brands. But Kelce somehow turned celebrity into fuel. And now the NFL faces something it rarely creates, a player whose influence extends far beyond football itself. The question is no longer whether Travis Kelce is one of the greatest tight ends ever. That debate is already over. The real question is how a tight end from the Midwest became one of the most recognizable figures in global entertainment, and why the NFL may never see another player quite like him again. Before the fame, before the championships, before the celebrity status, Travis Kelce was viewed as risky, not untalented, risky. Coming out of college, scouts saw the athleticism immediately. Size, speed, route running ability. It was obvious Kelce had rare tools for a tight end. But there were questions surrounding maturity, discipline, and consistency. And in the NFL, organizations fear unpredictability almost as much as failure itself. That's what made Kelce's early years so important. Because instead of becoming another talented player who wasted his potential, he slowly evolved into something much more dangerous, a personality that matched his talent. Most athletes are taught to stay quiet, avoid controversy, give safe interviews, protect the brand. Kelce did the opposite. He celebrated loudly, talked confidently, played emotionally. He carried himself like a star long before the entire world viewed him as one. At first, some people saw it as arrogance, but eventually the NFL realized something important. Kelce wasn't pretending. That energy was real, and authenticity is incredibly powerful in modern sports culture. Fans connect to players who feel human, emotional, unfiltered, entertaining. Kelce understood that instinctively before many athletes realized how valuable personality would become in the social media era. But personality alone doesn't create superstardom. Performance does. And once Kelce started dominating the field consistently, the entire perception around him changed. For decades, tight ends in the NFL were viewed differently than wide receivers. They were expected to block first, catch passes second. They were important pieces but rarely treated like the center of an offense. Travis Kelce changed that completely, because Kelce didn't play like a traditional tight end. He moved like a receiver, created separation like a route specialist, read defensive coverage almost like a quarterback. And once the ball was in his hands, he became impossible to predict. Defenses had a problem. Cornerbacks were usually too small to stop him physically. Linebackers were usually too slow to stay with him in space. Safeties often got trapped somewhere in between. That mismatch ability turned Kelce into one of the most valuable offensive weapons in football, not just among tight ends, but among all pass catchers in the league. And once Patrick Mahomes became the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, the connection between them became almost unfair. Mahomes played improvisational football. Kelce understood improvisation instinctively. That chemistry created chaos for defenses. Broken plays became touchdowns. Scrambled routes became impossible reads. Defenders stopped reacting to structure because Kansas City's offense often abandoned structure entirely once plays extended. And through all of it, Kelce remained the constant, reliable, explosive, fearless in big moments. Eventually, the numbers became undeniable. Record-breaking seasons, historic playoff performances, championship runs. At some point, the conversation shifted from best tight end in the league to something much bigger. Was Travis Kelce redefining what the position could even be? Most NFL stars remain trapped inside sports culture. Their fame exists mainly among fans of the game. But Travis Kelce crossed into something different, entertainment culture. That transition didn't happen overnight. It happened because Kelce understood modern attention better than most athletes ever have. He knew charisma mattered, humor mattered, accessibility mattered. He leaned into interviews instead of avoiding them. He embraced cameras instead of hiding from them. Then came the podcast. Together with his brother Jason Kelce, Travis helped create one of the biggest athlete-driven media platforms in sports. And what made it work wasn't just football knowledge, it felt real. People weren't just listening for analysis, they were listening for personality, family dynamics, humor, authentic conversation. And that authenticity exploded his audience beyond football fans. Then the celebrity world arrived. Suddenly, Kelce wasn't just appearing in NFL headlines anymore. He became part of mainstream entertainment culture. Commercials, award shows, viral moments, public appearances everywhere. And eventually, his relationship with Taylor Swift pushed him into an entirely different level of fame. That moment changed everything, because now Travis Kelce wasn't just visible to sports audiences, he became visible to the entire world. NFL ratings surged around Chiefs games, social media engagement exploded. People who had never watched football suddenly knew exactly who Travis Kelce was. And whether fans loved it or hated it, one thing became impossible to deny. Kelce had transcended the sport itself. The NFL has always struggled with one major problem. Most football stars are hidden behind helmets. Unlike basketball or soccer, the faces of the game are less visible during action itself. Personality is harder to market. Individual branding becomes more difficult. That's why Travis Kelce became so valuable to the league, because he broke through anyway. He became recognizable not just because of performance, but because of presence. Fans remembered the confidence, the celebrations, the interviews, the emotional reactions. He felt larger than football because his personality constantly escaped the limits of the sport, and the NFL benefited massively from that. Kelce helped make football feel culturally relevant outside of traditional sports conversations. Younger audiences connected with him differently than past NFL stars. He blended sports, entertainment, internet culture, and celebrity into one identity. In many ways, Kelce represents the modern athlete perfectly. Not just a player, a media figure, a personality, a brand. And importantly, he managed to build all of that without losing credibility on the field. That balance is incredibly rare because usually, when athletes become bigger celebrities, fans begin questioning commitment, performance slips, criticism increases. Kelce avoided most of that because he kept winning. Championships protected the brand, dominance protected the celebrity, and together they created something the NFL almost never produces naturally, a crossover superstar. At some point, Travis Kelce stopped being measured purely by football standards. That's when athletes become something else entirely, because now his influence stretches across multiple worlds simultaneously. Sports media, entertainment media, pop culture, social media, advertising, and the fascinating part is how naturally it happened. Kelce never looked like someone trying desperately to become famous. He looked comfortable being himself in public. That authenticity made audiences trust him. Fans felt like they understood his personality, even outside football. That connection matters more today than almost any statistic. Modern fame is built on relatability as much as achievement, and Kelce mastered both. But beneath all the celebrity attention is still one critical truth. None of this works without football. The championships matter, the playoff moments matter, the dominance matters, because celebrity can create attention, but greatness creates permanence. And that's why Travis Kelce became bigger than football without ever fully leaving football behind. He expanded the sport instead of escaping it. Travis Kelce didn't just become one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. He became something much rarer. A football player who broke into mainstream culture without losing what made him great in the first place. That's why his story feels different from most athletes. The fame never replaced the football, it amplified it, and in the process, Kelce changed how modern sports stardom works. He proved that personality could become power, that authenticity could build audiences bigger than traditional fandom, that an NFL player could dominate headlines even outside the game itself. But maybe the most important part of Travis Kelce's rise is this: he made football feel bigger, not just as a sport, but as entertainment, culture, and conversation all at once. And that's why Travis Kelce didn't just become famous, he became bigger than football,